What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I just recently rewatched the post conference on the Sergey side. Not really necessarily on Andre's side, because he said pretty much all he was going to say in the ring, after the victory. Now, I understand Sergey being somewhat bitter, but there's a such thing as being bitter about a situation and just being a sore loser. And now I do agree with him. Tony Weeks did stop that fight. That was a quick stoppage. But Tony Weeks was just doing his job, but I think he over officiated it. And look, you guys watch this channel. I've said it before, I say it again. I've always loved Tony Weeks as a referee. I've liked the way he referees fights. He doesn't over officiate. He doesn't under officiate. He does like right up the middle. Now, he of course had his own reason of doing that and making that call like he did. But Sergey really wasn't fighting. And this is also the problem with when you have a person that is known for destroying their opponents like Sergey does. The experience he lacks because he didn't know really what it's ever like to be in trouble. And that was his problem, and that was his downfall. See, at that time when he was getting caught with those body shots, sure, a couple of them went low, and I'll get to that later, but when he was hurt, because he got hurt from a right hand and made him do a little dance, okay? When he got hit with that punch, with that right, he did that little dance, and then he started to retreat, and then he stopped punching. That's when Andre Ward came in and still started working the body, because he knew he had hurt him to the body, okay? And he was ripping the body for the last 2 fights, because he was doing that in the first fight. And now everyone should see that that's how that slowed him down. That's how it slowed Sergey down. And because Andre Ward put investment in working the body and took juice out of the punches, and then and took the win out of Sergey Kovalev. And that's what he did. But he did more so this fight. And also Sergey, because he was trying to do his own body assault, that gave the opportunities upstairs for Andre Ward to land those punches like he landed with the right hand. Okay, so yeah, it was a surprise though. Who would have knew? But again, back to Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev did not have the experience of ever really being hurt. He had a flash knockdown right before he fought Hopkins with a fighter. I don't even remember his name. I think he was an Australian fighter, but he was dropped. But it was a flash knockdown. He wasn't hurt or anything like that. He was just surprised. In this fight, he was actually hurt, and he did not know how to deal with it. And I'm guarantee you, a guy such as the referee, such as Tony Weeks, told them about the standing 8 count, about, the no holding, what he expects in the ring. He did the same thing he did in other fights like other referees do. So you really can't blame Tony Weeks. You have to blame Sergey, because it's back to Sergey. It's only 3 people in the ring. It's only Sergey. It was only Sergey, Andre Ward, and Tony Weeks. And because he lacked the experience, when he got hurt, he should have took a knee. But that came from inexperience, and that came from pride. And those 2 factors caused him to lose that fight. And he said in the post conference that he was not hurt, or no, he said he was hurt, but he wasn't hurt enough not to continue. Well, if that was the case, he should have took an 8 count, gathered himself, rose up, and fought again. But he didn't do that because he simply didn't have the experience. And that's what happens when a dominant fighter like Sergey Kovalev is just known to crush his fighters. He even killed a guy. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. He dispatches his opponent. So he's used to that mentality. So he's not used to being on the other side of that fence. You see what I'm saying? So that's what happened with Sergey Kovalev. I also fear that for Gennady Golovkin. He's never been in a situation where he's actually been hurt. So what really happens when you do get hurt? So if you've went that long in your career without actually ever being hurt or being, close to being hurt, and you accidentally get hurt, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you're getting your ass whooped? That's the question. And that's what happened. And he showed what he did. He folded. He bent over and he did not fight. And Andre Ward kept swinging. And I think that fight should have went on a little longer, at least 5 to 10 more seconds. And at that point, if Sergey didn't want to continue, it would have been that. Because it really, like I said it before, it cheapens the victory from Andre Ward, because now there's going to be another Mayweather. There's going to be some excuses. There's going to be the pro-Sergey fans. And I think Sergey won the first fight. But this fight here speaks for itself. He should have took a knee, but he would have knew that if he's ever been hurt before. All right? So that's what it all comes down to. And Kathy Duba, his promoter, she said what she had to say about the low blows. Now let's get to the low blows. Okay. Well, the low blows, yes, there were low blows in that fight. Some of them were borderline, which means they were legal. But when you have been fouled below the belt, you get hit in the cup, that's a sensitive area, okay? And it becomes sensitive. And other than physical, it's also mental, okay? Somebody's ball busting you, because I've sparred with people that have known to just hit low, okay? And I was cognitive, and I was aware of them possibly hitting low, but it affected my performance. It affected what I did in the ring, when I was sparring. So I can understand that, if that messed with him mentally, if you were going low, because if he was going low and Tony didn't see it, I don't think that he, just had a blind eye, because, for what I've known of Tony Weeks, he's a stand-up guy and he's a stand-up referee. He's not like some of these fighters, especially these Texas referees. And I've been on them, and don't let me get on that. But, he did a really good job in that, and I think, though, that could have had something to do with it. When he started getting hit low, he was going to, assume or expect Andre Ward to keep swinging low. And of course you get away with whatever you can get away with, it didn't help Chucky Flores, and it didn't help Sergey Kovalev. But Sergey thought that, well, hey, I'm bent over and I'm hurt, I'm injured. They're going to take that into account because he hit me earlier before, and some warnings were called. So, but that wasn't the case. These were legitimate body punches, but again, that is the reason why the fight should have stayed a little longer, so Andre Ward could properly finish off his opponent. And he's not known to be a finisher, but he would have done a good job that time. He kept whacking the body. He kept working that body. He should have got a couple uppercuts in there when Sergey, was bent over. I mean, because that's the ideal thing, because he wasn't on the ground. He didn't take a knee, and he wasn't going anywhere. He was just in that position, and he was not fighting. So you can't just say, oh, well, he shouldn't have stopped the fight. And then that's exactly what Tony Weeks is going to tell everyone. I guarantee it. He did not fight. He did not fight back. He booped over. He stooped over. And that's what he done. He kept getting hit to the body, And he was getting hit to the head, too. He just didn't hit him only to the body, but he was whacking the body enough to have him bent over the way he was bent over. And Sergey's a tall guy, right? Well, they're both about the same height, but still, this guy's bent over in that fashion. What is he going to do? He's not fighting. He didn't have the experience to take a knee, and that's a wrap. So, and look, that's my take on it. I don't think it should be a third fight. I don't think that Sergey will get a third fight, because the only reason this second fight took as long as it did was because of the remarks of Sergey Kovalev. Being a sore loser. You can't be a sore loser all the time. It's a certain thing called humility. You know what I'm saying? I know I can understand people getting pissed off about the first fight, but if you approach it in a certain way, 90% of something that happens is the way you react to it, right? So if his reactions were humble and peaceful, he would have probably fought Andre Ward in probably March or April. It didn't have to drag all the way to this point, in the middle part of June. Because remember, these guys fought late last year. Okay? So the remarks are the reasons why it was prolonged. And then Andre Ward was thinking about, he just took his time and came back when he felt like coming back, But Sergey, he did fight with anger, I think. This was a better fight. Again, more punches were thrown, more punches were landed. So, you know, you take it for what it is. It is what it is. Sergey, he's just assed out. He needs to focus on getting Stevenson's belt now, you know, or retiring if he has enough money, because I don't see Andre Ward giving him another shot. But if Andre Ward, you know, if he's true for what he says, he might go up to cruiserweight or light heavy, or, you know, or heavyweight even. You know, he might, those belts might become available and he might be champion again. You know, and he will always have the debate of what happened in the first fight, but definitely not the second. You know, I just question, you know, the early stoppage like that. I think, you know, my opinion, I think that Tony Weeks stepped in a little bit too quick. But that's my take on it. You guys let me know what you think about it. Please subscribe. Check out my Facebook page, Counterpunch Boxing News. Instagram, Kurt DeField at Instagram. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.